SKN Football Weekly. We're coming to you live from the Warner Park Football Stadium. This is where the action happens in the National Bank Premier League each and every week. I'm your host, Andre Huey. We want to thank all our viewers who watched SKN Football Weekly last week, our first episode. This week, we're going to promise you a great show. As we told you, we're coming to you live from the Warner Park Football Stadium. On this week's edition of SKN Football Weekly, we will be reviewing the first weekend of the 2018-2019 season. Some exciting results in the football season started last weekend. Plus, we'll be previewing the games this week. Some exciting matches, at least two big matches coming up this weekend. And a new initiative launched by the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association, the Crystal Awards, awarding excellence in local football. All that and a whole lot more on this week's edition of SKN Football Weekly. I'm joined by my co-host this week, LaShawn Dixon of the St. Kitts Nevis Observer. He's also a reporter that covers football extensively. He was with us last week and he's here with us this week. LaShawn, welcome back to SKN Football Weekly. It's a pleasure to have you. We had a fantastic week last week and we're certainly looking forward to a good week this week.
Yes. I'm happy to be back here. I'm glad that football is back and I'm stoked for this weekend with some big matches.
Yeah, indeed. Well, let's start. First thing we're going to do is that we're going to review the matches from last week. We're going to give you the comprehensive report. We actually did a report on all 5 matches that played last week. So I want you to take some time out, watch this report that I did on behalf of the SKNFA of the matches played last week in the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association's National Bank Premier League, the start of the 2018-2019 season. The 2018-2019 National Bank Premier League opened in fine style on Saturday, September 22 at the Warner Park Football Stadium with 2 fabulous matches. Former champions SL Horsford St. Paul's got past Elko Limited St. Peter's 2-0. Both goals coming from Keith Roy Freeman in the 16th minute and the 52nd minute. St. Paul's is under a new coach, Iroy Kunga Jeffers, who is no stranger to the Premier League, having coached Ramsville Superstars in the past and was the assistant coach for St. Paul's. He was recently promoted to the head coach position after the departure of longtime coach Austin Deco Huggins. He spoke about his team's performance after the match.
First of all, I want to thank the strength for bringing us the players up here to perform and get the first win. It's important. So we're top of the table, so we set the trend.
Meanwhile, defending champions Rams Village Superstars got off to a flying start with a 2-0 victory over newly promoted side United Old Road Jets. Shandy Charles of Old Road scored an own goal in the 2nd minute before Tyran Hanley put the game away with a penalty kick in the 17th minute. A week after winning the 2018 President's Cup, Flow 4GK and Rockets got off to an excellent start to their 2018-2019 National Bank Premier League campaign on Sunday. They dropped Hobson Enterprises Garden Hotspurs 3-0 at the Warner Park Football Stadium, scoring all 3 goals in the first half. Scoring for Keon, Vince Roy Nelson in the 4th minute, Nigel Thumb 3 minutes later in the 7th minute, and Kurt Morton in the 26th minute. Keon assistant coach Jazel Buchanan, while happy with the win, was not completely satisfied with his team's performance.
Even though we win, I don't feel 100% that in terms of how we play. In terms of the score that one goal, we can have one less.
Meanwhile, coach Austin Deco Huggins of Spurs felt his team did not put away their chances in order to get back in the game, which is one of the reasons why they lost the match.
I thought that they was really good physically. The fitness level to be in shape. But we gave up some soft goal in the first half. Second half we made some adjustments. Managed to keep the score nil in the second half. So we just got to keep working and trying to solidify the defense. And then we'll be in a good position to contend.
In the day's other matches, Fastcast Saddlers defeated newcomer to the Premier League Mantab 2-0, scoring for Saddlers Evans Roy Barnes in the 11th minute and Nick One Phipps in the 51st minute. Then in match number 2, Saul Allen Auto Supplies Connery took on MAP Newtown United and they both came to a 1-1 draw, scoring for Connery Tijani Fai in the 41st minute and for Newtown Kijani David in the 79th minute. The National Bank Premier League continues this weekend. So there you have it, a comprehensive report of the matches. And if you do hear a noise in the background, please bear with us. We're here at the Warner Park Football Stadium. Outside noises, we can't control much. But they're preparing the field for tonight's big matchups, the games that are going to be played tonight. And so the field is being pruned and prepared. So the machinery you're hearing in the background is actually the machine that's the lawnmower, that's actually mowing the grass and getting the grass and the field ready for tonight's game. All right, so LaShawn, we had some big results. Let's talk about the results. The first game of the season was St. Paul's, SL Horsford St. Paul's taking on Elko Limited St. Peter's. St. Paul's under a new coach in Iroy Kunga Jeffers. no stranger to the Premier League. He actually led Village to a title some years back in 2011, I believe.
Yes.
And you also coached Sadler's. You were informing me last week.
Yes.
And now he's coaching St. Paul's. He was part of the coaching setup as assistant coach. What was your impression of St. Paul's in their first match?
Well, I thought St. Paul's looked very well. They look solid at the back as usual. They played a nice counter-attacking game, especially in the second half, being up 1-0. And eventually, the second goal came. They could have even had more if they were more clinical in front of goal. But in the end, Monkey never really threatened, and St. Paul's looked as solid as they were last season.
One of the things that the coach mentioned when I asked him about the new players, because you know St. Paul's has a lot of new players this season, one of the things he said is that they are able to rotate players. They will be rotating players to keep the team competitive. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
A good squad rotation is always welcome because
they struggled from that last season.
Yes,
well.
yes. It's a long season, so keeping the players fresh would be key. And even though you said they have a number of new players, the core is pretty much the same. This is pretty much the same as for the last 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, it's been a young squad.
Yes.
What about Elko Limited St. Peter's? Again, not a great start to the season. There was the same, almost similar start they had. Well, the scoreline was a lot worse last season, but again, they started the season with a loss. They always start off slow, and then they pick up steam midpoint in the first round, probably in the second round.
Yes. I thought they were quite porous at the back. The two centre backs. So let's see. They created few opportunities, but they never really threatened the St. Paul's team in the thick of it.
Now that match between Old Road and Ramsey Superstars, which of course we commentated on Voice of the Caribbean Radio. Old Road started off slow. They got pegged back very early in the game. They gave up an own goal in the second minute. That's a great way to start your Premier League season, coming up from Division 1 football. But they halfway in the first half, they managed to find their footing and pick themselves up in the game.
Yes, most definitely. They got the slow start. I'm guessing it was nerves being back in the Premier League. The first game against the champions, it was always a difficult start. So, but they go into the game. They played a very decent game. For moments, I thought they even outplayed the Ramsey Superstars. But the class of the champions rose to the top, and it was enough to secure them a solid opening day victory.
Yeah. All right. Ramsey Superstars, I spoke with their assistant coach. Unfortunately, we weren't able to give you that clip. But he did say in the interview that I had with him that he thought they would have scored more goals. You're 2 up in the first 15 minutes of the match. He was expecting a goal fest. We were expecting a goal fest, actually. We actually said it in the commentary. But credit to Old Road, they defended very resolutely in the game. And so I think they have a bright future in the Premier League. But Village, a slow start for them. I mean, they got the 2-0 win, but still wasn't what they were looking for. They were looking for more goals.
Most definitely, they would have wanted more goals. It would have bred confidence amongst the unit. They would also send a threat to the other teams that we ain't giving up this title without a fight. So they're probably disappointed that they only scored the 2 in the first 15 minutes, but in the end, 3 points is 3 points.
Right. Yeah, can't complain about that. Now on Sunday, it was big matchups. Sadler's FC, Fastcast Sadler's FC, they took on newly promoted Mantab. Now, you're thinking as a team that avoided relegation last season, you're playing against a newly promoted team, you want to get 3 points, and they did just that.
Yes, and most definitely, if they want to avoid another relegation for that, survive relegation this time, they have to get points from the teams in and around them, and that's what they did. A very confident start from them. And with this new format, the Super Sixes, who knows? Sadler's might be a surprise team.
Yeah. Well, I did say that last week, right? You said that was a bit too much for them, but I wouldn't be surprised if they. I mean, this is a great way for them to start. So, Mantab, again, a slow start. We met their coach to be in Pepe Isaac last week. He had some complaints, but we'll go into details of that. But he was getting himself ready to coach. But Mantab. A slow start to the season. I mean, you really don't want to. A team like Sadler's, no disrespect to them, you want to get something out of that game. You don't want to go down so early in the game, and you don't want to lose 3 points.
Yes, and as I said before, you would want to always win against teams who might be in the same predicament as you. So they would have most definitely like the 3 points, but it's still early days yet. They can still come back, and who knows, they might cut down one of the big wigs one of these weekends. So
Well, Bob Marley in the Whalers said it, small axe chop big tree. So let's see. So so the newly promoted side, as we could see, Mantab and Old Road, they did not have a good start. They both lost 2-0, haven't scored a goal. Of the two teams, who do you think would have give a better showing, even though they lost, a better showing in their first encounter?
I thought Old Road was the better of the two. I believe they can be a real banana skin in this Premier League, and some of the big teams might slip up on them. So, but it's still early days. It's the first game. We can't judge a team off of one game, off of 190 minutes.
Especially the first game of the season.
Yes,
right,
yes.
Yes. There's so many misconceptions about the first game.
When they will be nerves. So.
Right.
But
okay.
It's early days still.
Now, Sunday was actually a loaded game. We were saying before we started the show today that the exciting thing about the National Bank Premier League in St. Kitts is that you're guaranteed a big matchup, at least one every week, because there are at least 6 teams that will give you good competition out of the 10 teams in the Premier League. And so this week, in the opening weekend, we actually saw 2 big games on a Sunday. Sol Island Auto Supply's Connery FC versus MAP Newtown United. That game ended in a 1-1 draw. Kind of an anticlimax, but still excitement all around. Your thoughts on that game?
I would say it's better than losing your first game. You're coming up against two solid teams coming up against each other. A win is always nice. It's always good to start with a win. It builds confidence. But a draw is not bad as well. At least, okay, we probably didn't play our best, but yet we still could get something out of this game. And it's a point. It's something you can build on for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a bit about Newtown. Newtown had some new players, quite a few of them, at least a couple of them coming from Keon. And so you think with the new blood they have blended with more experienced players from other teams, that they should be looking as one of those teams. They should be improving at least on their performance from last season.
Yes, definitely. And last season, the Newtown community probably were disappointed with the way they played and that they didn't finish in the top 4, and they probably weren't even close. But they will be looking to bounce back this season. They got some transfers, as we understand, that should be a boost to the team. And I'm just hoping that, for the sake of the Newtown fans, that they can give them something to cheer about, because Newtown has some of the most passionate fans who come to the park weekly. Yeah,
and it's a community that is known for winning in sports, has a very good sports culture. So for them they are the team that won the Premier League the most. So for a team that has not been to the playoffs in the last couple of seasons, or at least making a serious run to the playoffs and not winning a title since 2012, that could be some problems. But on the same subject of Newtown, before we move on to Connery, Carlos Bertie, we understand he is transferred to Newtown, a last-minute transfer actually, the day before the start of the Premier League season. We were a bit shocked at that, because just a week ago, or a week prior to the start of the season, he scored the opening goal in the President's Cup. Then the following week you hear he's no longer with Keon. Does it surprise you that he's playing with Newtown, or that he's no longer playing with Keon?
These days, transfers in the SKNFA Premier Division don't surprise me at all. Once ago, when players used to play for their communities, it's a thing of the past. Now we see players from all over playing for all over. So,
what do you think is that though? Because I know community pride was always a thing that people. I remember when Yellowman used to play for St. Paul's.
Yes.
Coming from Keon, winning the title with Keon, people were saying, "Come home, Yellowman, come home." No, you're seeing players, not having a fuss of giving up that community pride and playing for another team.
Well, I'm guessing it's just to chase championships, to play with their friends. I don't know. But Carlos Bertie will have his reasons of why he chose Newtown over Keon, and it's a good coup for Newtown, because he's one of the leading goal scorers of the SKNFA Premier League over the last 3 years. So it's a big coup for them.
Now, one of the other, still on Carlos Bertie, I know last season he sort of had a falling out with management of Keon, particularly the coach. I remember the last game of the season when he got substituted, everyone could clearly see the disdain of being substituted in that match. He didn't play in the first 2 games for reasons not mentioned, but of the playoffs that is, but did get a run in the final game and almost brought Keon over the line. He actually scored the first goal and gave Keon some hope, and then it didn't happen. I thought the differences were somewhat sorted out, not realizing that he still somewhat had some problems with the coaching staff and maybe the team in general.
Maybe he didn't have had any problems. He just had some outside influence that coaxed him and encouraged him to go to Newtown, and he thought that was a better option than staying at Keon.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be, if he carries that same form from Keon into Newtown, Newtown will certainly benefit from that, because they do need a proven goal scorer. Not that they don't have. I mean, Kimber Lawrence has certainly kept them up with some goals, and they've had some goals from other players as well. But having a player like Bertie in your lineup is always a plus.
Most definitely, he's a national team player for a number of years. He has been touted as one who ought to be playing the game professionally. He has yet to do so. I don't know why, but he's a good player. He's one of the best players in the Premier League, and he's there especially.
All right. Let's talk about Salt Island Auto Supplies Connery. Connery, they pull off a draw in this match. Not the kind of start they were looking for. They're normally a team that starts quick and then pick up steam, and then maybe have some dip and then they come back up. But nonetheless, would this be a good result for Connery, considering coming off the disappointment of losing the finals?
Yes, they would probably prefer to open the season with a victory, but I think a draw is acceptable. It's a solid outcome. They themselves also lost a few players to transfers, and we will look into to bounce back and replace them, have a seamless transition more so.
And the final game of last weekend, the matchup that I think a lot of people were looking out for, which was actually the second big matchup of the weekend. It was Flow 4GK and Rockets up against Hobson Enterprises Garden Hotspurs. And why that was a big matchup? Well, simple. Keon, they lost a lot of players. They lost about 6 players, and they had a big test ahead of them, which was against Spurs. Spurs, a proven team, a team that can cause trouble on any given day, has a new coach in their former player, Austin Deco Huggins, and didn't quite turn out the way people were expecting. It was a 3-0 drubbing. Kudos to Keon pulling off that win, scoring all 3 goals in the first half and putting Spurs under pressure. Spurs did come out a little bit stronger in the second half. They created some chances, didn't put them away, but they were better defensively in the second half than they were in the first half. What are your thoughts on that game?
Well, it was a good win for Keon, most definitely, because when you consider that they lost upwards of 6 players, they lost 6 players, to come out and show character and put on a performance like that, to win a game so convincingly against one of the better teams in the league, it's a nice way to start the season.
Yeah. And for Spurs, having spoken to Coach Austin Deco Huggins, he basically said that defensively they needed to tighten up. They needed to be more solid defensively. And he's a coach that stresses defense. So obviously this is not a good showing from them in the first half. He was a bit more satisfied with the second half showing. But he also said they need to score goals. We're seeing a similarity. It's early days, but we're seeing a similarity with St. Paul's. Again, that was his concern at St. Paul's. They're not scoring enough goals. Now, in the first game for Spurs, we're seeing the same thing.
Well, goals win your games, and struggling in front of goals is definitely an area of concern for any team who can't find the back of the net regularly. And defensively, I say goals win your games, but stopping goals keeps you from losing games.
Right? Yeah, so, it has to be balanced.
Yes. He has to find the balance between both. And this Spurs team is a good team, and with this new format, the Super 6, they would be rubbing their hands together, knowing that they're almost certain to finish in the top 6 and to get a shot at the Premier Division title. All
right. Well, if you're just joining us, this is SKN Football Weekly here. We're coming to you live from the Warner Park Football Stadium. LaShawn Dix is my co-host this week, was with me last week, and we're going to take a break at this point. When we come back, we're going to preview the games coming up, and later on we're going to talk about the SKNFA's Crystal Awards. All that coming up next on SKN Football Weekly. We'll be right back. The National Bank Premier League in St. Kitts is back, and Voice of the Caribbean Radio is bringing live coverage with the SKNFA Match of the Week. Every Saturday evening at 8 p.m, Voice of the Caribbean Radio will be broadcasting the Premier League Match of the Week at www.voiceofthecaribbean.net or sknfa.com.
Shot taken, and in the back of the net!
We'll bring you the action through live commentary and analysis with pre-game, halftime and post-game shows, live and direct from the Warner Park Football Stadium. That's the SKNFA Match of the Week on Voice of the Caribbean Radio in partnership with the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association, bringing live radio coverage every Saturday at 8 p.m. from now till the end of the season, only on voiceofthecaribbean.net or sknfa.com. Live football action from St. Kitts every Saturday on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, your Caribbean sports leader.
I am floored. That is a scorcher of a goal. That's the best.
At Nagico, the things that matter to you matter to us. Like your boat when you're at sea and you get away from everything. Your home and the security of your daughter's things. And the car that you've had for too long, but after all these years, you just can't let go. At Nagico, we're about much more than just insurance. We're about the big things and the small things that mean everything.
For all your printing needs at top-notch quality, go to Digital Print Plus, located on Princess Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts. At Digital Print Plus, you get the best in business cards, letterheads, envelopes, wristbands, tent cards, rack cards, flyers, brochures, logo designs, posters, photos, architectural designs, 3D renderings, and so much more. Digital Print Plus gives you the best quality at competitive prices. Contact us at 767-7468 or email digitalprintskn@gmail.com or follow us on Facebook at digitalprintskn. Digital Print Plus for all your printing needs at the best quality.
Ricardo's Home Center and Hardware is your first and best choice in hardware supplies. Visit Ricardo's for paint supplies, screws and nails, windows and doors, building supplies, plumbing supplies, tools, cabinetry, lavatory and accessories, tile, cement and grout, water heaters, lumber and plywood, and much more. At Ricardo's, our services are second to none in the Federation. We offer paint mixing, screen repair, screen installation, window repair, security screen door repair, and commercial doors and locks repair. We also offer delivery service. So come by at Ricardo's in Needsmith Estate, St. Kitts. Call 465-9229, 466-1824, 662-3451. Email rhcenter.h@gmail.com. For the best in supplies and service, visit Ricardo's Home Center and Hardware.
Welcome back to SKN Football Weekly. We're coming to you live from the Warner Park Football Stadium. I'm your host, Andre Huey. Again, we'd love to get your feedback. I would like to thank all those persons who took the time out to watch our show last week, to comment, to share the video on Facebook, and to really be part of the discussion. We want to thank you so much. And guess what? We're giving you the opportunity to be a part of the show. So I would like you to send us some emails. You can keep in touch with us. You can send us messages on the SKNFA's Facebook page, as well as our Facebook page at SK Newsline. You can send us messages there. If you don't have a Facebook account and you'd like to send us an email, drop us a line, whether it be a topic you want us to discuss on the show, or whether it is a commendation, whatever it is, send us an email at news@sknewsline.com. That's news@sknewsline.com, and we'll happy to read that email on the show if you so desire each and every week. All right, we're going to be looking at the matches coming up this weekend. We have some really interesting matchups this weekend. Let's start with tonight, Saturday, the 29th of September. Elko Limited St. Peter's again, but this time they're playing the Old Road Jets, the United Old Road Jets. That's at 6 p.m. And at 8 p.m. we have defending champions Rams Village Superstars versus Flow 4GK Rockets. That game, the 8 o'clock game, will be live on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, or affiliate radio station. Yours truly will be commentating, and I should be joined by Troy Biff Mills tonight for that game. Let's start with Elka Limited St. Peter's. Disappointment of losing their first game of the season. They have a chance now to make it right against the newly promoted United Old Road Jets.
Yes, and if Elko Limited St. Peter's want a shot at the Super 6, this is a game they should definitely be winning. Old Road is a new team in the Premier League. They had a slow start last week, but St. Peter's should be aiming for 3 points in this game. Anything less will be seen as a failure. Almost.
Well, Old Road, as we saw in last week's game, can put up a fight. And they did that, albeit too late, against Village. And they also created some good opportunities. If they were a little bit more clinical, they probably could have earned a point, at least a point from that game. So we are expecting Old Road to put up a fight, a much better display than they did last week.
Yes, as I said earlier, they seem like a banana skin team, a real bogey team. I believe they will cut down a big wig this season, and I would believe St. Peter's don't want it to be them.
Right. And as you talk about bogey team, one of the things I'm really looking out for, though, I would like to see what an Old Road team would do against the Saddlers. We saw Mantab getting that test and they failed it. I would love to see Old Road and Saddlers go head to head, because I think these are two bogey teams, potential bogey teams, and I think it would make for a really interesting matchup. Let's talk about the 8 o'clock game, the Rams Village Superstars versus Flow 4G Ken Rockets. That's the Rams Village Superstars, the defending champions, against Keon. This is a repeat of one of the playoff matches from last season. That promises to be exciting. And that game, by the way, let me remind you, will be on Voice of the Caribbean Radio live. We'll be bringing that commentary for you live on voiceofthecaribbean.net or the sknfa.com website. Village versus Keon. Keon have a bone to pick against Village, but Keon has always been one of those teams that potentially was a problem for Village last season. Now they are a new look side in a sense, because they have some new faces, and some of the famous old faces are no longer there. What do you think is going to happen in this match?
Well, Kean already got the better of them already for the season in the President's
Cup. Right. So I guess Village has a bone to pick now, right?
Yes, but after a strong start against Spurs, I think Kean would want to keep that good run going, especially after losing all those faces. We don't know their strength in depth, and picking up points early on, I think would pay dividends for them in the long run of the season.
Yeah.
Yes.
As for Village, losing the President's Cup, coming off that 4-3 that loss to Keon, was a nerve jerker, so to speak.
Yes.
I don't think they went in to lose that cup and to lose it in the manner in which they did. What do you think they're going to be needing to adjust going into that game?
Well, most definitely they'll have to bury their chances and keep Keon from creating chances. I thought in their first game against Old Road, they weren't as clinical as I know they could be. I know they're missing at least 2 players out of the starting lineup, but they should be able to hold their own without them and give Kean a good run for their money.
Right. So those are the games for Saturday night tonight, that is, at the Warner Park Football Stadium. Right here, the action is going to happen. The people are going to be in the stands, over in the bleachers, and they're going to be coming out to cheer on Flow 4G Ken Rockets versus Rams Village Superstars. But before that, we have Elka Limited St. Peter's taking on United Old Road Jets. Let's look at Sunday's games, tomorrow's games. SL Horsford St. Paul's United versus Mantab. These are 2 teams from the country in the same era, roughly. Yes. Mantab not getting a break, it seems.
No. After a disappointing loss against Saddlers, they probably prefer to play a lesser team also. But coming up against St. Paul's, you have to play what's in front of you. They have to go out, the ball is on your day, you never know. Especially with St. Paul's integrating new players and with a new coach integrating a new system, you never know, Mantab may stand a chance.
And defensively we know St. Paul's is good, and that's one thing Kunga Jeffers, the new coach, has certainly continued in that same vein from Deco. What would Mantab have to do to break that defense down and at the same time prevent St. Paul's from getting a goal or getting goals for that matter?
Well, I think the best option is for them is to be patient, stay back, soak up the pressure, and look to break when St. Paul. St. Paul's would be under the most pressure to get the win in the game, because they always expected to beat Mantab whenever they face up. So Mantab just have to be patient and take the opportunities when they come.
Now let's go to the next match at 5 p.m. Salt Island Auto Supplies Connery FC will take on the Fast Cash Saddlers. Saddlers is a team that, if I remember serving it correct, in the first round of last season, actually got a win against Connery. And Connery, I don't think, is going to forget that. So this is a team that they are not going to take lightly. What do you think needs to be the strategy for, first of all, Saddlers, to make sure that they can pull off what they did in round 1 last season? And what do you think Connery needs to do?
Well, for Saddlers, as we said earlier, they're the definition of a bogey team. You never know which Saddlers will show up on the day. The Saddlers that could be relegated are the Saddlers who could threaten for a place in the Super 6. One thing to note always about Saddlers is they always start the first half of the first round well, and then they play a bad game and then they lose. But in this game, they just have to stick to their game plan and play football the way they know how to. And if it comes off, it comes off. And if they could secure another 3 points against a strong team in Connery, then I'm sure they'll have it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Connery, I guess probably, I mean, we might say it's not a bad result for them to get a draw last week against Newtown. But I think the fans are expecting more from them. They want to see something special from Connery, and starting the season off right is probably a good way. I don't think a draw in this game is going to be satisfying to the fans or to management or the coaching staff for that matter.
Yes, I could understand why they wouldn't want to draw in this game, especially after especially since they couldn't win. They didn't win in the first game. They would be desperate for 3 points in this game, so they don't fall behind early. But they should be able to walk over Saddlers. But knowing Saddlers, you never know which team will show up on the day.
Right. And the final match on the weekend, Hobson Enterprises Garden Hotspurs, again, they're getting the hot seat on a Sunday. They were on the hot seat last week on a Sunday. They're taking on MAP Newtown United. And Newtown, coming off that draw, they're hoping to really get something going. But Spurs, on the new leadership, on the new management, so to speak, in terms of the coaching aspect, they want to get something from this game. They want to right the wrongs of last Sunday.
Yes, and seeing, as you say, a new coach and probably want to implement a new system, a new way how the team plays. It's so sad, probably will not be the end all for them, but coming up against Newtown, a win, a Bastia rival, Central Bastia versus East Bastia, there's no day, you can't take a day off with that kind of, that level of competition and the derby effect of that game. You never want to you always want to be on your A game in that kind of game. Yeah,
the Bastia derbies are certainly ones to look out for. When Village taking on Spurs, when Village playing Newtown playing Irish, in this case Spurs, Garden Hotspurs, and vice versa. It's always one to look out for, because the teams in Bastia, they try to dominate, they try to make sure that they're the ones representing the town in a finals or in a playoffs. So definitely, it's certainly going to be a matchup to look forward to. But Newtown, as we said, is a team that is from a community that has a lot of pride. I think this season they want to make a mark this season and getting those valuable assets from Keon, for example. They would want to make use of them. So anything less than a victory for Newtown this weekend, would that be a good result for them?
A draw probably wouldn't be bad, but I've seen that they failed to win the previous game against Connery. They most definitely want to get the first 3 points of the season and to set the season right, at least get off on a semi-decent foot.
Right. And a win will certainly do that. We're going to take another break, our final break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about a new initiative launched by the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association that was announced this week. It's the Crystal Awards. What is this all about? We'll get you all the details after the break. The National Bank Premier League in St. Kitts is back, and Voice of the Caribbean Radio is bringing live coverage with the SKNFA Match of the Week. Every Saturday evening at 8 p.m., Voice of the Caribbean Radio will be broadcasting the Premier League Match of the Week at www.voiceofthecaribbean.net or sknfa.com.
Shot taken, and in the back of the net!
We'll bring you the action through live commentary and analysis with pre-game, halftime, and post-game shows, live and direct from the Warner Park Football Stadium. That's the SKNFA Match of the Week on Voice of the Caribbean Radio in partnership with the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association, bringing live radio coverage every Saturday at 8 p.m. from now till the end of the season, only on voiceofthecaribbean.net or sknfa.com. Live football action from St. Kitts every Saturday on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, your Caribbean sports leader.
I am floored. That is a scorcher of a goal. That's the best.
At Nagico, the things that matter to you matter to us. Like your boat when you're at sea and you get away from everything. Your home and the security of your daughter's things. And the car that you've had for too long, but after all these years, you just can't let go. At Nagico, we're about much more than just insurance. We're about the big things and the small things that mean everything.
For all your printing needs at top-notch quality, go to Digital Print Plus, located on Princess Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts. At Digital Print Plus, you get the best in business cards, letterheads, envelopes, wristbands, tent cards, rack cards, flyers, brochures, logo designs, posters, photos, architectural designs, 3D renderings, and so much more. Digital Print Plus gives you the best quality at competitive prices. Contact us at 767-7468 or email digitalprintskn@gmail.com or follow us on Facebook at digitalprintskn. Digital Print Plus for all your printing needs at the best quality.
Ricardo's Home Center and Hardware is your first and best choice in hardware supplies. Visit Ricardo's for paint supplies, screws and nails, windows and doors, building supplies, plumbing supplies, tools, cabinetry, lavatory and accessories, tile, cement and grout, water heaters, lumber and plywood, and much more. At Ricardo's, our services are second to none in the Federation. We offer paint mixing, screen repair, screen installation, window repair, security screen door repair, and commercial doors and locks repair. We also offer delivery service. So come by at Ricardo's in Needsmith Estate, St. Kitts. Call 465-9229, 466-1824, 662-3451. Email rhcenter.h@gmail.com. For the best in supplies and service, visit Ricardo's Home Center and Hardware.
Why read the news when you can watch it? Introducing SKN Newsline, the Federation's only online TV news platform. SKN Newsline is an online TV news platform covering news in St. Kitts and Nevis. You can watch SKN Newsline on our website, www.sknnewsline.com, or Facebook page at www.fb.com/SKN Newsline. SKN Newsline, your world, your news.
Now you can have SKN Newsline on the go. Introducing SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Search SKN Newsline in the Google Play Store. Download the app free and stay up to date with TV news in St. Kitts and Nevis in the palm of your hands. With this app, you can watch our news reports, watch our live news feed on SKN Newsline TV, engage with us and other app users in the chat room, look at our special features, send us news tips, and call us directly. It's news on the go. The SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Download it free today. Welcome back, and this is our final segment here on SKN Football Weekly. I'm Andre Hugh. I'm joined by LaShawn Dixon from the St. Kitts Nevis Observer. Just a quick reminder that we will be having the SKNFA Match of the Week commentary tonight at 8 o'clock. It's Rams Village Superstars versus Flow 4GK and Rockets. A big match that we're bringing to you live on Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. We also want to thank Sugar City 90.3 FM. They joined our feed last week. They took our feed last week, and I assume they will be doing that this week. So you can also listen to the game there if that happens. The Crystal Awards, a new initiative launched by the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association, made its introduction this week by a report coming out of the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association. What is the Crystal Awards? It's a black tie affair. It's a prestigious event awarding excellence in local football. I had a chance to sit down this week with the General Secretary of the SKNFA, Mr. Stanley Jacobs, and I filed this report on what the Crystal Awards is all about. The St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association, the SKNFA, is organizing the first ever Crystal Awards. This is said to be a very prestigious football awards and black tie event that could see the likes of some of international football's biggest names in attendance, including the president of FIFA, Gianni Infantino, and the president of CONCACAF. General Secretary of the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association, the SKNFA, Stanley Jacobs, explains that the Crystal Awards is designed to award outstanding footballers in St. Kitts and Nevis.
The Crystal Awards is designed by the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association to honor the outstanding performances of our local footballers. It's going to happen on the 17th of November 2018. So many persons ask, what is the Crystal Awards? What is the Crystal Awards about? You've heard about FIFA Ballon d'Or. You've heard about FIFA Outstanding Footballers from this past World Cup. And so the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association has decided that the time is right to honor and recognize the outstanding performances of all our local footballers from the local league. And so the Crystal Awards is going to be a black tie event hosted at the St. Kitts Marriott Hotel, where we will honor our outstanding footballers.
Mr. Jacobs said the Crystal Awards is going to be a very important event, and already they have confirmed the participation of the president of CONCACAF, the confederation that governs football in North America, Central America, and the Caribbean.
This is going to be a very important event, and so already we are in discussions with a number of dignitaries from all across the football globe who are looking to converge in St. Kitts and Nevis for this auspicious event. Already we have confirmed the attendance of the CONCACAF president and possibly the CONCACAF general secretary who will be in St. Kitts and Nevis for this event. We are speaking to other possible candidates, including the FIFA president himself, Mr. Gianni Infantino, and so it's going to be an exciting event. Our special guest, yet to be confirmed, is going to be a high-profile athlete. And so we want everyone to save the date, November 17, 2018, Marriott Hotel, where we will put on a spectacular event, the SKNFA Crystal Awards.
Meanwhile, the SKNFA official is reaching out to the corporate community and fans alike to support the Crystal Awards.
The price for this extravagant Crystal Awards is only $250 per person. It's going to be a sit-down black tie dinner affair, and so we want persons to come out and support this event. We're going to make a special appeal to the corporate community to come on board and to be a major sponsor of this event. We have a number of sponsorship packages that you can call our office at 466-8502 and get more information on these sponsorship packages.
The Crystal Awards has as its theme performance, appreciation, and recognition. It will attract approximately 500 persons from the local communities, government officials, and the private sector. The theme captures the event's intent to highlight the positive achievements of our young people through football. So there you have it there, Mr. Stanley Jacobs of the SKNFA speaking about the Crystal Awards and what this entails. The Crystal Awards, it's the Ballon d'Or, so to speak, of St. Kitts Nevis football. It's the UEFA Player of the Year, that kind of thing. It's all happening. The Pushkas, right? There you go. The categories have not yet been released, but I'm sure that's going to happen in due season. But talk to about this. This is a really great initiative by the FA.
Yes, most definitely. It's a time where we get to celebrate the footballers, and they're in the spotlight on this special night. Where their hard work and their dedication, their commitment to football is rewarded. I think it was long overdue. Gone are the days when after the finals there's a hurriedly organized ceremony with no one paying attention, only who had to pop champagne. So it's a good initiative to to put the footballers under the spotlight, outside of football, outside of on the field, you know.
Right. How important do you think this is to the footballers themselves? Because, like you said, you know, the ceremony at the end of the season is a little bit rushed because, you know, the team just won, they want to celebrate. The fans that usually stay behind, or most of the fans that stay behind, are the ones who are for the champions, the eventual champions.
Yes, and it's after you see a footballer wins an award and he's not here to collect it. But in this event, the footballers who are most likely to win awards, who most definitely want to be there and collect and get their photo up and interact with their fans as well.
Yeah. So definitely, as we get more information on the Crystal Awards, we will be making that known here on SKN Football Weekly. But do stay tuned to the media, the local media, about this great initiative being launched by the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association. Again, it's going to be on the 17th of November at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort. The exciting thing, though, before we end, and before we end this point as well, is that we have confirmation that the president of CONCACAF, Mr. Victor Montigliani, will be there. Possibly the general secretary of the CONCACAF as well should be there. And there are talks in having that will probably see Mr. Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, there. So that sounds exciting.
Yes, most definitely. And you said the 17th of November. If memory serves me right, that's around the same time Canada will be playing here.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So it will be a major event for the SKNFA, and hopefully one that we can see annually on the football calendar.
Yeah, and they do say it will be an annual event. And also to top that off, there are plans to bring a special guest, which will be a known footballer, either retired or active, in most cases retired. And so we look forward to that announcement when that time comes. Well, LaShawn, again, thank you so much for being part of SKN Football Weekly. Different setting, different atmosphere. And we want to thank all our viewers for watching. Again, remember, SKN Football Weekly will air from 11 a.m. in rotation right throughout on the Facebook page of the SKNFA as well as SKN Newsline. And you can visit sknewsline.com, where you'll be able to watch it there as well. We welcome your comments. We're going to have a specialized email for that, but for the time being, you can send us your emails to news@sknewsline.com, or you can send us your messages right there on the Facebook posts during the broadcast. You can just send us your comments there or send us a message. I'm Andre Huey. Thank you so much for watching SKN Football Weekly. Join us again next week when we will recap the matches for this weekend and look forward to the matches coming up next weekend. Have a pleasant weekend.